And just like that, 700 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races are in the books. Welcome in, everybody, to another one of these fun post-race streams. And thank you for staying up late with me. Spam 700 in the chat. I'm going to say now, apologies if I'm a little low energy. Been dealing with food poisoning for the last 24 hours. Not fun. Not fun at all. A little tired from that. But we're going to keep chugging along. Power through it. We're going to have some fun tonight. I see all the 700s. Come on, put a few more in the chat for me. But this was the 2024 North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Say that one 3 times fast. Again, I thought it was a pretty average truck race. It wasn't anything super special, except for the fact that we are 700 races into this series. Imagine telling somebody that back in 1995. And I appreciate the get well wishes. I am about back to normal. I just need a good sleep tonight. Maybe some time on the treadmill just to make sure everything is working the way it should be. Thank you, Michael, for the 5, saying 700. That's right. So let's get into this race, and then I'll put the finishing order up at the top for you. I think I should actually change something really quick. I always forget to change the settings between the podcast Zoom call or Zoom window and the post-race one. I figure you probably want to see the post-race ticker up top and not just my head. So there you go. On-air production meeting. How about that? Let's get into the final results of this race. And guys, guess what? I got a TV now, so I don't have to constantly be checking the same 2 screens, so I can just fully see if anything happens behind the camera. So that's fun. This race is 134 laps long, 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 39 seconds. 8 lead changes among 5 leaders and 5 caution flags tonight. Nick Sanchez, the winner of this race. His crew chief, fittingly enough, has been at and working at every single NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. While I'm thinking about it, because I have my rating. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Give me a rating, 10 being the best race you've ever seen, and 0 being the worst race you've ever seen. Give me your rating for what you think of this event. Let me know. I want to see what you guys think. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they cut post-race. So I've seen a lot of 7s, 5, 700 out of 1,000. I like that. 7s, 8. So people are pretty positive about tonight. Again, I'm leaning positive. You know, again, not the greatest race ever, but when you look at the amount of passing through the pack and different stuff like that, I know Dirty Air made a difference at the end, but it was far from the worst truck race we've seen this year. So Sanchez wins over Heim by half a second. Heim in second. Stuart Friesen in the 3rd spot. Grant Enfinger finishes a pretty good 4th. Both those guys needed some good runs today. Matt Mills with a 5th place run in the 42. 6th goes to Ben Rhodes, who needed another good run. Jake Garcia, 7th. Caden Honeycutt, we'll talk about it in a bit, an awful last pit stop of just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Finishes in the 8th spot. In 9th, we have Connor Mosack. In 10th, Dean Thompson. Christian Eckes was looking like he could have been on his way to victory at the end. Finishes outside of the top 10 in 11th, though he has led every single race this year. Really was nowhere to be found until that final run before the final little sprint at the end. Connor Jones, after a really, really rough week at North Wilkesboro, comes home in the 12th spot. Taylor Gray, 13th. 14th, Chase Purdy. Brett Holmes in the 15th spot. Brett Moffitt in the 16th position. 17th, after falling back from 3rd on that restart, Raja Caruth. Tanner Gray, after basically nearly spinning with 5 to go, still comes home 18th. Mason Massey, 19th. Daniel Dye, 20th. Spencer Boyd in the 21st spot. Jack Wood, 22nd. Timmy Hill in 23rd. Ty Majeski After being 5th or 6th, I know he's on the 3rd row in that final restart. Gets stuck in traffic on top of having old tires. 24th position for Majeski. 25th for Ty Dillon. Stephen Parsons, 26th after running for the win before the caution. 27th, Bailey Curry, and Mason Maggio rounds out your lead lap finishers in 28th. 29th, 1 lap down is Lane Riggs. Villarreal, I believe. Again, I always mess up that name. 30th, 3 laps down. Lawless Allen out of this race in 31st. Matt Crafton, the final finisher on track, 15 laps down in 32nd. And then you finish it off with Ankrum in 33rd, Thad Moffitt 34th, Keith McGee, my favorite name in the Truck Series, 35th, and Jeffrey Earnhardt 36th. All those guys taken out in a crash altogether. Final 3, by the way, of Moffitt, McGee, and Earnhardt, all 69 laps. Nice, actually not so nice for them, off of what we would end up finishing at. Scott, thank you for the 5. Greetings from Indy. Decent race. Didn't think Sanchez was going to win. Also pretty disappointed the 500 won't be on NBC on Monday. I am too. And we'll talk about that probably at the end. I'm going to write it down right now. But I will say this. I'm letting anyone know because I know there's a lot of people in the chat that'll be at Indy. If you're staying Monday or Tuesday, say hi because I'm pretty sure I'll be able to make the race Monday or Tuesday. If it goes to Wednesday, I can't do it. Got to get stuff ready for the show, which will be on, I believe, Danny's channel. I put my channel on the Danny graphic this past week, but it is on Danny's channel. By the way, up top, you'll be able to see the streaming schedule and the final results. So there you go. Lick that like button while you're at it as well. Subscribe if you're new. We do this after every single NASCAR race, Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. And we will talk about the 8 after we talk about the race. There's plenty to talk about outside of just this race. So let's get into it right now. Yeah, why the hell are they putting radioactive for the 2020 Charlotte race instead of at least 10 minutes of 7 more years of this. 7 more years. It is what it is. So Tanner Gray starts on pole. He won the ARCA race today. Pretty good day for him, even though it didn't end out too well on the truck side. He'd lead early, but it was Heim time. This whole race, especially the first half, really, really dominated by Corey Heim. Loose was the word of the day, but Heim was just straight line right to the front. Wins stage 1 over Honeycutt. Tanner Gray 3rd. Raja in 4th. Majeski 5th. 6th was Lane Riggs. Not Scott Riggs, as the booth kept accidentally calling him. Lane Riggs. Purdy in 7th. Thompson 8th. 9th is Rhodes. And Mosak 10th. Stage 2, more of the same. I want to be real with you guys. The first 2 stages were nothing special whatsoever. There was not really much to talk about. It was basically the same thing. Tanner Gray got a few laps in the lead. Heim led through the end of the stage, wins the stage over Gray. Purdy, Honeycutt, and Thompson the top 5. Majeski, Riggs, Mosak, Sanchez, and Michael Waltrip's favorite, Daniel Dye, top 10 in stage 2. The final stage is where all of the fun action happened, and that's what we're going to talk about here. Honeycutt tonight, man, just no luck at all in the pits. First off, starts the stage off by taking the gas can with him. A penalty comes from that. Nobody's going to remember it for what happened on the final stop or the fact that, let me check one last time to make sure I'm right. Yes, I am. He finished 8th tonight still after all of that. Great run for him despite everything he went through. I think if he doesn't have all these problems, I think he wins this race. That's just me. I mean, I think he was right there with Heim when it came to just how well he was running this event. Unfortunately, it does not pan out that way for him. We get restarted in lap 68. It's the 11 to 15. Heim gets away again. I mean, I was shocked. And this is where we have our wreck where Ankrum kind of gets hooked off the nose of Brett Moffitt. They both were going for the same real estate. Goes back up the track, takes out Keith McGee, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Thad Moffitt. None of them having anywhere to go. That was pretty much the only wreck of the night. But with that, those 4 were the first 4 out in one just clean sweep of the slate. We get restarted with, I believe, 60 to go. Heim again gets the lead. Crafton in the wall with the caution with 54 to go. This opens up the strategy bin. And this is where it gets real fun. Real fun. So all but the top 10 or so pit with about 50 or so to go. Purdy and Massey are up front. Massey doesn't get going, stacks him up, and it's Purdy leading about half a lap before Christian Eckes takes the lead, and no one cares. And I say that not for disrespect, but because Heim was flying. He restarted, I think, 30th. He was up to the top 10 in 7 laps. The jack had failed on his pit stop, and so he got shuffled all the way to the back. Didn't matter. He was flying up towards the front. But with 27 to go, and really from this point until the final caution, it was the 77 of Purdy versus the 19 of Eckes going back and forth. Eckes saving fuel. Purdy knew he wasn't going to make it, so he's just going, all out, just trying to make it. Hope there's a caution so it can save him. We find out it really wouldn't save him. Front three of Eckes and Purdy and Honeycutt become under a blanket, under a second gap between them. And it's looking like it's going to be a really, really fun strategy race until the caution comes out. And this is where we're going to poll y'all. So let's get the poll ready. Was the final caution warranted? I think it's an actual good question here. We're going to start the poll now. Personally, maybe this is because I picked Eckes, so I'm a little biased. I will fully admit that could be the case. I don't think it was. He scraped the wall. It wasn't like it was really an egregious caution. I get NASCAR throwing it. Unfortunately, it just means with Purdy scraping the wall like that and getting into the wall, the caution would not help him because he was the caution. I don't think it was a caution, but I will admit I could be biased on that. I will give you that. More warranted than Busch or Deegan. I will give you that. I will definitely give you that. But I don't know. Maybe it's also because Fox didn't show any debris that really came up. The only thing they showed was him getting in the wall. He could have had a lot more debris that was on the track, and NASCAR kind of gets screwed because Fox doesn't show it. I will also fully admit that could be the case as well. But regardless, it happened. It was a caution, and this is where we see the real turning point of the race. Honeycutt and Heim both pit from behind Eckes. It's looking like they are in the catbird seat. All they got to do is execute a clean and good pit stop. The 45 is a terrible stop. The air gun stopped working. They didn't have another one on standby, a backup of any means. They're sitting there for at least 30 extra seconds. The race is done for them. He is able to charge back up, but it's done for him. From there, also, Heim had a lug nut issue, a really, you think about it and look at it, kind of a scary issue because his tire changer's finger was actually in the wheel when Heim decided to start gassing it up. Luckily, his finger didn't get taken off there. That would have been real nasty. But he has to get a lug nut put back on it. Slow stop as well. He's to the back. Or at least further back than he would be. I believe it was row 6, but when you have 9 to go on the final restart, that's just enough that it's going to hold you back from getting that win. We get a restart with the 19 of Eckes and 75 of Parsons. Again, these guys are the leaders with 9 to go. I'll spoil it for you now. The leader, Eckes, finished 11th. Parsons finished all the way back in 26th position. So very rough. The top just stacked it up. Eckes got the lead for a lap before Nick Sanchez got by. Heim was right behind him a lap later in second, but Sanchez used the air to block Heim, who, again, was the best truck of the night, but very smartly and methodically blocked him with the air. I mean, I think if Heim were to have just been able to get the left front into some clean air, I think he has the win, but he just wasn't able to. It's rough, and I get that, but it is what the Truck Series sort of is at this point, and that is rough about it. But that is also a thing we've seen with mile and a halves forever. I think that the next gen has really spoiled us when it comes to what we expect from these tracks in the other series. But I do think that the Cup race is going to be amazing this week. I think the Xfinity race is actually going to be really good too. But that's it. I mean, that is how the cookie crumbled, if I can speak correctly. Scott, thank you for the 5, by the way. Can we talk about how Fox has the North Wilkesboro race distance during the pace laps? That's right, yeah. And Phil Parsons did not seem happy with that. He's like, obviously that's wrong, so here's what it actually is. Like, that's why I don't blame too much the people in the booth. Like, if they're straight up awful, like, yeah, okay, we'll blame them. But it's just the entirety of Fox, man. And especially with the fact that IndyCar might have their biggest event, the Indianapolis 500, one of, if not the most prestigious events in motorsports, put on USA Network, doesn't tell you that NBC and them are a little striped. I get there's, contractual obligations on NBC with tennis, but it's I don't know, man. This could be the same thing that IndyCar is putting up with next year. Yeah, Clint Boyer angrily throws pen. By the way, we're going to end the poll now. 55% say the caution was not warranted, to 45 saying yes. So, pretty split field. What's up, Tinsley? Frank DeAngelis has been at both of Sanchez's wins. Well, I need to know next time Frank's going to a race so I can put some money on Sanchez. But before we end off here, what do you guys think of the 8 being back under control of Dale Jr.? Because I'm very happy about that. Granted, it's also because, well, you can see. Just saying, I'm a little biased on that as well, but I will openly admit that one. But I am very, very happy about that. It's, if Teresa Earnhardt willingly gave it up, then Breakhard, I will give him credit, and I never can say his last name, but Joey, I can't remember his how to say his last name, but I apologize. I will learn how to pronounce it. They were the ones who did the real legwork in this, and Breakhard brought up a good point that if Teresa willingly gave it up, do we really call her the Wicked Witch anymore? I mean, I think we still can, because it's not like she's innocent by any means. She's acted like the Wicked Witch for a long ass time. It's not official yet, but it's looking like Teresa hasn't put in the application the way that Junior has. So I think it's looking like Junior's going to get it. It took 17 years to do so, but I'm happy about it. I can't wait. I hope that Junior can drive the Earnhardt font, DEI font 8 car one more time. I put this proposition into my video earlier today. I think that for Junior's final ever Xfinity start, they're more radioactive on TV. I think for Junior's final ever Xfinity start, which will be his last NASCAR start, I think it should be at Charlotte. I think it should be on 600 weekend, just like his first Cup start. And I think him and Budweiser should work together, since they couldn't in his final start for Cup. I think they should work together, do a red Budweiser 8 car. Even if he runs 25th, I guarantee at least 50, 60,000 will show up in the stands. I bet you're going to have some of the best ratings for an Xfinity race. And he'll be at the event that weekend, because he'll be calling the race for Prime. So I don't think that you're gonna, I don't think he's gonna have that start after 2031. I think the next few years he'll be done, just because age is gonna catch up with him. I would love to see that. Give the 88 back full time. That was the franchise number for the team for the longest time since their start. I want to see it one more time, selfishly. And I like this. So, Iceberg, what number does Kyle drive? Hey, if Kyle Busch wants to do a Dale Jr. throwback, that is just full circle. If he drives Junior's scheme the way that Junior drove his car in 2007, those last couple laps at Texas, it's been 16 years since Kyle Busch wrecked Junior at Richmond. I think the hatchet's been buried between any beef they may have. By the way, click the like button. Let's see if we can get to 100 before we end this thing off. I will fully admit also that I completely forgot the other point I think I was supposed to talk about. But I will be at Indy if it's and probably when it's rained out. There is a window, I get that. But it's not looking likely, man. It's not looking likely. So if you're there, say hi. I might have a rogue Danny B, maybe some other people. We'll try and get a bunch of people together. David Land will be there among a lot of other people that are already there. Fan bases don't bury hatchets. True. I don't get me wrong. Like, I don't like looking back at it. I hate seeing the 88 get wrecked like that on all the replays everyone shows. But again, it's been 16 years. I'm over it. I'm more pissed at Brian Vickers, but that's just more because Vickers is sort of associated with some pretty bad people, so I can still be mad at him and people will accept it. That's the best way I can put it. 81% chance of rain and storms. And I saw too that it's not just rain and storms, it's like tornado threat. And I think it'd be wise of IndyCar to keep an eye out for that, just because having 200, 300,000 people in the same area for a tornado threat could be really, really bad. But for once, it's NASCAR that's not completely screwed by the weather on Memorial Day weekend. I'm not happy about IndyCar having that. I want them to run their event on Sunday. I want Larson to have the one-day double. Probably will have to be next year at this rate, unless it rains in Charlotte or Indy next year. But I want them to run it, but it doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Hate Mother Nature, man. Scott, by the way, thank you for the 31-month member chat. I'm still calling her the Wicked Witch, about Teresa. Yeah, I am too. I'll say, if the Teresa Earnhardt Dale Jr. download episode, like that will be the best episode, even if she BS's the whole damn time. A lot of people have also linked this move to her maybe being on the Earnhardt documentary that Dale Jr. and Dirty Mo is producing. That could be something as well. I'm just surprised that she gave the 8 up to Junior and Kelly before she gave the 1 up to Ty Norris. Like, I didn't maybe it's the stuff Ty Norris has said more recently to the media about Teresa. I don't know, but it's interesting to me. It's interesting. I'm almost certain, looking at the chat here, I'm almost certain that IndyCar is going to Fox. I mean, I think that the question is, how many network races will Fox do versus NBC? But Fox, with big races like the 600 last year and the 500 in for a couple years, among others, usually keeps their rain-delayed races on Fox and moves stuff around. To their credit. Got to give them credit on that one. Where NBC, that they really don't. They usually push stuff to USA Network, which is what they're doing to the Indy 500. That could play a big part as well, because the Indy 500 is the only thing keeping the series afloat right now. CBB, thank you for the 3-month member chat. Your sign finally worked, Jarrett. Thanks from all of us. Thanks from us all. I mean, I can't read. Yeah, that sign I made when I was 9 years old. It took a while. It took, basically double the amount of time I had lived to that point for it to work. The sign is faded. It's hanging on my grandpa's wall in the garage, but it worked. For those of you guys, because I know there's a lot of people in here that were either really, really young or weren't around yet when Junior left DEI. The Free the 8 campaign was actually a really big deal in 2007. A lot of people got behind it. I know it was started by Ricky Rackman and Rutledge Wood when they both were on NASCAR Race Day, back when Race Day was worth watching. So it was a big deal. A lot of people brought a lot of those signs, and it was I'll admit, it was fun to be with, even though you kind of knew it wasn't going to help anything. Thanks for the membership, Tinsley. I appreciate it. But yeah, that's a night. I am gonna probably go and maybe walk a few miles on the treadmill slowly, and hope I feel better. And then I'm just going to sleep this off because I have a long run. Hopefully I can do tomorrow if my guts allow me to. I appreciate you guys coming out late tonight, and I will be back tomorrow after the Xfinity race. I'm just... food poisoning sucks, man. It sucks. Again, I'm about 80-90%. You know, I'm all good. It would take a lot for me not to be on here, but I appreciate it. Subscribe for new, like it, the stream, all that, and until tomorrow, which hopefully I should be feeling better by then. Have a good one. Have a good night, y'all.